I don't throw darts at a board. I bet on sure things. Read Sun Tzu, The Art of War. Every battle is won before it's ever fought. Think about it. The most valuable commodity I know of is information. Wouldn't you agree?
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
A, B, C. A, always B, B, C, closing. Always be closing. Always be closing. The show goes on!
It's Wednesday night and fantasy football is on the agenda. Grab a seat and let's get down to business. It's time for the Fantasy Boardroom. Here's your host, Tycoon.
And welcome to the Fantasy Boardroom. My God, it is great to be back. Let's get down to business. It is, well, now time for the 2022 season. It is right upon us, and admittedly, I'm a little behind in getting to you guys, so I'm extremely sorry for the delayed absence. I had planned to get back around the beginning of the month. Life's in the way. Strange time right now. But nonetheless, here we are. So we're going to start by just mentioning that collective sign is no longer behind me. We have rebranded. We have moved on. There's a new name. News for the new season. The collective is dead. We've gone rogue. We are now fantasy rogues, betting rogues. And you'll see that reflected as the season moves on. And thus, tonight, Rogue Beginnings is our title. So we're going to do a quick little rundown of the agenda, and then we're just going to jump right into it. But before we do, I do want to give one shout out to Scott Fish and to Ryan McDowell for putting on Scott Fish Bowl yet again. SFB 12, their live draft this year. There is a ton of excitement. I'm thrilled. I look to be participating in the Los Angeles live draft, Trophy Smack headquarters, and it is going to be a blast. I cannot wait to get there and meet so many of my fellow fantasy addicts, and look forward to a great time, another great tournament, contributing to great causes. So this season, we are going to have a new format. We'll discuss that over the course of the next few weeks. I'll give you an overview of what we're going to be discussing this offseason, and we'll have a brief incoming rookie discussion. That's going to be, again, brief because it's kind of old news. If you're playing Dynasty, you're already well past your rookie drafts in all likelihood. But still want to mention where I'm at with these guys and maybe who matters for this season. And then tonight we're going to get into 2022 running backs for redraft. So moving forward, offseason will be a little different, but in general, we're going to be less segmented, a little more natural. We're going to be discussing a lot more betting, especially prop betting in particular, and all major sports, not just football, when it comes to the betting. There will also be a bit more dynasty discussion. I'm a big dynasty guy, a big dynasty fan, so I just have to mix it in more just for my own personal enjoyment and growth. And there will be hopefully more audience interaction, more questions. Once I'm back onto a very consistent schedule, I like to think that we'll have the repeat audience, the core people returning, and we'll get a lot more discussion going, have a little bit more back and forth. It's always a lot better when it's interactive. But we still will remain primarily focused on winning you your 2022 leagues. That is focus number one, will always be so. And now we're just going to add bets to that too. And as we go through the offseason, we're going to discuss rookies tonight, and then each week over the next few weeks here, tonight and into July, the four major position groups. So tonight we're going to discuss running backs, and we'll do wide receivers, quarterbacks, and tight ends. We're also going to discuss some draft prep and strategy. Come August, we'll discuss various draft strategies in terms of roster builds, and then we'll also discuss best strategies coming out of particular slots, players that are expected to be available via ADP at the time, and kind of work from there. Maybe we'll add a mock draft or two, and I plan to have some killer guests. Not every episode, but we'll have a good number. We had a all-star lineup at times last year, so we look to continue that, grow, maybe even do better. So, rookies, the brief discussion, let's jump into that. Just want to discuss my top 24 if I can pull up my rankings here. So, I'm not particularly big on this year's rookie class. There are, especially for this season, but muted as a whole. Not a single quarterback I care for. Wide receivers good. One running back I care for. Sorry, I'm not a Kenneth Walker guy. So just kind of at the top of the list, just going to give you them. So we got Breece Hall as my number 1 overall and RB1 in your rookie drafts, regardless of format. Drake London at 2. He is my wide receiver 1. Garrett Wilson, Treylon Burks, Kenneth Walker, Chris Olave, Jamison Williams, Sky Moore. And that's kind of Sky is where it's all shots in the dark after that. I mean, there's guys I like some more than others. I have Trey McBride down at 20th overall, but as tight end 1. Zach Ertz is obviously still in the way. But McBride, the tight ends usually take 2 or 3 years to really come about. So by then, ideally still playing with Kyler, ideally still, I don't want to say an explosive offense. I hope they're not too explosive. I'm a 49er fan. But it still will be a very good offense. We can't deny that. And he will be a prime beneficiary, very athletic guy. But yeah, after Sky Moore at 8, then we go into Kenny Pickett, Christian Watson, George Pickens, James Cook. Yeah. I'm not even going to finish going through the list. Rookies, again, not that important. And anybody who really matters for 2022, which is what we're worried about tonight, has already been discussed. So for 2022, the players, as incoming rookies, I think can have an actual legitimate fantasy impact for your teams are Breece Hall, Drake London, Chris Olave, possibly Kenneth Walker. I'd say even probably I have no faith in Rashad Penny's health. And then possibly Burks in the second half of the season. We'll see. We'll see. It's not so much about Burks. It's more about the Tennessee offense. And then keep an eye on Tyler Algier as well. We'll see if Atlanta adds another back between now and between now and training camp. But it looks like he will have some opportunity. And while the offense won't necessarily be good, I think it'll be better than it was last season. So and running backs are valuable. He'll be very, very cheap. So we're going to dive into the meat of it tonight. This is really all I want to talk about, just to get my feet wet again, back talking to you guys. And that is the running back class or not the running back class, but the players available in 2022 at the running back position, who I'm higher on, who I'm lower on, who's priced about right, and we'll briefly discuss why for each gentleman here. Higher than consensus, DeAndre Swift, duh, obviously. My entire brand is basically built around 2 players, Mr. Swift being the primary one of those players. Now, he was RB10 last season in point per game average, despite being injured during his final 3 appearances. He had Roquan Smith just land and destroy his shoulder. But he still finished 14th overall. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm reading my notes incorrectly. So he finished RB10 last season in points per game. And right now he's going 14th overall. Jeez. And he's being drafted as RB8. So while there is better back value later on, I still have Swift in my top 5 for 2022, RB4. And don't be scared about Detroit. I know they've added some help, but he is still the most talented skill player on that roster by far, and he will get his. Oh, beautiful. We've got Dustin and Parker back. Let's go, boys. Thank you for joining. Thank you. Nice to know some people are watching. I wasn't sure if, with such little notice and announcement, not even a time, that I would actually really get any real viewers tonight, but that's all right. I wasn't too concerned about that in general. But yeah, Swift, still a boss, still the guy. Make sure that you are putting yourself in position to, well, you can't really do that, but if you can, take Swift in that area. Honestly, if you're set on having a running back in round 1, that's probably going to be the reason I'll have less of him than I'd like, is because I'm likely to go wide receiver very early this year. But if you are set on going running back early, he's a top 5 guy. Just take him. Don't doubt it. Now, the other guy, if you've been paying attention to me for any length of time at all, that I've built my entire brand and reputation and putting everything on the line for, is Travis Etienne Jr. Shout out Barty Crouch. So he's back to health. He has no real competition, nothing to fear with James Robinson or Snoop. Yeah. But especially James Robinson. I've yet to see a compelling argument why anybody should have any faith in him other than he might be active week 1. That's great if he comes back way too soon from his injury, just like another popular running back who wasn't good. Frankly, the next... actually, that's another note for another time. But anyways, we're talking about ETN right now. So the man is back to health again. Nothing to fear when it comes to James Robinson. He's ready to play with this boy Trevor again, and he's far and away easily the best value at any position in fantasy drafts right now. So he's going with an ADP of 47 and going as RB 22, which is bonkers madness. This is insane. It's disrespectful. I have a really hard time reconciling this, quite frankly, especially when it seemed over recent months there's been a lot of Twitter hype and build-up for ETN again. I thought people had, started to see the light. A little late to the party, sure, but started to see it. But it's not reflected in ADP. It's just not. At the end of the 4th round, take him early in the 4th. I mean, don't take him. I would advocate taking him earlier if that's where his ADP was. Don't be reaching too often unless you expect to be taken. Don't walk away without ETN. You're getting an RB1 in the 4th round. I currently have him as my RB11. So he will be an RB1. This is just like Swift last year. You're getting him in the 4th and 5th for a good stretch of time. And then he smashed. So get 2.0. There probably won't be a guy like that next year, so take him while you can. These things are never a given. Oh, and we've got Ant back. Let's go. Yeah, you missed the beard. Oh, I haven't been showing the comment. Welcome back. Yeah, missed the beard. The beard comes and goes. You'll see it again. I get bored with either style, clean shaven, with the beard, with the scruff, with the mustache. It's an evolving canvas. Like I said, get bored too easily. I have ADD. Now we're getting to the 3rd back. I am higher than consensus on. Another one will be pounding the table for a lot over the coming months, and that is Saquon Barkley. Yes, the quad master is alive, well, and ready to kill. 25 years old, new upgraded coaching staff, 2nd year removed from that ACL tear. He is just an absolute physical and athletic freak. He has an ADP that matches his age of 25, going as a running back 14 off the board. Now, I understand his injury history, freak injuries, by the way, give people a little bit of pause. You get a little wary. But it's the nature of the position. The running back position can happen with any of them. And the fact that they are not recurring injuries and many have happened in just unreal ways. The fact that he got tripped last year after the play. But anyways, don't worry, though. He is back here in 2022. Fully back in form. And he's not an extreme value because RBs do kind of go quickly in that range, mid to late 2nd. But still, at 14, it's too low. Way too low. RB6. Aaron Jones is another guy. Now, not a big gap, but he's clocking in at RB12 right now with an ADP of 22. He's going late in the 2nd when he should be going early, so I'm not going to go nuts, but still, that is a value that can make a big difference if you are on the turn. With Adams out of town, a dearth of talent at the receiver position in Green Bay currently. After week 1, Sammy Watkins will go for 404. It's going to be amazing. But after that, yeah, Aaron Jones all the way. And along with Jones' historically great performances when Adams is not on the field, it's all arrows up for Jones completely. RB7, just behind Saquon. Again, not a big gap here. This is more just about respect for some, bragging rights in a sense, but pass heavy, smash heavy. It's Dalvin Cook, baby. Don't care if it is a pass heavier offense. He's one of the most talented running backs in the league. That's undeniable. And one of the few remaining workhorses, a la Derrick Henry. He's going as running back 6. And yeah, normally to say I'm higher than consensus, yeah, looking for a little more than one spot for me to really say that. But it's just about the pride of being able to say top 5 back. Dalvin Cook is still a top 5 back. So draft him as such if you need to get a back in that top range. Ezekiel Elliott, though. Now, he is a value. He is a value. Dustin, you left, right? You're no cowboy nonsense in these comments. But still, the disrespect is there for Zeke. What can I say? Running back 7 last year, and Parker too. Yeah, I hope you're gone. No. RB7, though, last year in total points. I know we're going, we reference points per game with Swift. In this case, using total points for Zeke. They both have different relevance because being on the field does matter. Points per game is more significant, but still, the fact that this is a guy you can play week after week and was there and consistently good, that matters. That has value. And he is still the most talented back in Dallas. I'm sorry, Pollard Posse. That's just reality. I know he looks more explosive and whatnot at times, and he probably is a little more athletic now at this point than Ezekiel Elliott is. I think that'd be a little hard to dispute as we've watched, but Zeke's been banged up the last few seasons, so who knows, how that's going to go. But he's still a better running back. He's better at the position, so that'll keep him on the field. He'll be there in high leverage situations, scoring situations. Okay, that matters quite a bit. So Zeke, RB17, ADP of 33 is wrong. I don't think he's going to be an RB1 this year, though, not RB7, but just outside of that, running back 13. That's where I got him. So let's go. Don't disrespect Elliott. Actually, I don't really care if you disrespect Elliott, but don't pass up on good value. If he's still sitting around there running back 17, 18 when you're drafting, snatch that up. And now we'll go with one of those rookies we talked about, and that's Breece Hall. Now, the fact that he plays for the Jets is the only reason I think to have him as low as he is, but I think it's still too far. He's going as running back 24, so fringe RB2, right at the edge. With the growth I expect from the Jets offense, though, I think he's going to have more production opportunities than others are giving him credit for. Also, not really high on Michael Carter, not expecting much out of him. So, wheels up for Breece. I love it. I mean, and I know people are hesitant about Zach Wilson, and that's fair. He didn't show a lot in terms of actual production last year, but again, also a guy who struggled with injuries in midseason. Came over with it. Mike White came in. Everybody thought he was God. That was strange. The strangest thing since Linsanity. New York, man. Wild place. But no, Zach Wilson is the real deal. He will ascend. We have another year of chemistry with him and Elijah Moore. I think Garrett Wilson was the second best receiver available in the draft. Tremendous pick by them. Corey Davis is still very good. This is all setting up. I mean, it's just continuity. And they're going to get there, and Breece Hall is going to benefit. He absolutely is going to benefit. He will be probably not a workhorse, but I think even 60-40 split is unfair. I'd be 65-35 probably. He's going to have a lot of chances, a lot of volume. It's not going to be Najee last year either, but that's okay. And now it's time to get lower the consensus. This guy was popular on a lot of lists last year, rebounded in a big way, had a great season last season, and people seem to have bought back in. Not me. Joe Mixon, lower. So there are rumors of more third down volume for him, but I still anticipate an extremely pass-heavy year for the Bengals. And I'm still scarred from those past injuries. What can I say? Health remains a concern for me. And he was banged up at a few times last year. I mean, he still was active for most of the games, but there were some matchups that he was hampered. And he will be good again. Don't get me wrong. I'm not thinking he's going to miss half the season or anything due to these injuries, but I am hesitant to draft him as an elite back going into this upcoming season. I mean, his cost is 13 ADP, 13th, running back 7. No way, Jose. Hell no. So I'll hitch my wagon to many, many other rides before taking Mixon essentially as a first rounder. That's just gross. So yeah, he's my RB12 though. I'm still having this running back as a running back 1. So I'm showing respect, Mixon people. I'm not all the way off. I just, at that cost, I just can't do it. Can't do it. Same reason I can't do it with the next guy. Derrick Henry. Awesome guy. Love King Henry. Huge King Henry fan. It kind of grosses me out to have to say this, but the man is aging. He's recovering from a Jones fracture in his foot, and that injury is a very high rate of re-injury. And it's a very uncertain offense that I kind of alluded to earlier with Treylon Burks. It's just, A.J. Brown's gone. Yeah, Treylon Burks is an incoming rookie that's still a big unknown. I mean, I like him, but we shall see. I don't think he's a legitimate A.J. Brown replacement like many do. I'm definitely not on that page, but, teach their own. And Tannehill was not good last year. Was not good. And you can't try to pretend that he was in any way. I don't even understand how the damn team did so well. What number one seed in the AFC? It's unbelievable because the defense wasn't good either. So I'm expecting, just significant regression from this offense and team as a whole. I expect nothing. And again, given the recent injury showing that Derrick Henry is in fact a human, I just can't do it. A top 5 pick? Top 5? Guys, no. Fuck no. Respectfully. Way too rich for my blood. RB8? Sure. Get him, early, mid-second. Mid-second? Yeah, I'll do that. But I'm not spending a top 5 pick on this guy. Ooh, we got them boys in the house. Man, it's just all the Cowboy fans. Thank goodness Ant showed up. Give me Bobby Trees. I mean, not at that cost. I don't. Yeah, give me Bobby Trees over Burks, I guess, but I really don't want anything to do with Tennessee, period, this year, frankly. I may not draft a single Titan on any team if I can help it. That'll be the goal. No Titans. No Titans. I'm going to have to work that into a theme and do an episode here. So the third guy I'm lower on, Alvin Kamara. It seems like people aren't paying attention and don't realize he's going to be suspended? Is that why he's going as RB9? I can't square that. How are you drafting this guy at night? He's going to miss 6 games in all likelihood. Anyways, but he will be suspended for sure. And it's almost certainly going to be 6 games. So if you're even lucky enough to somehow be 2-4, maybe, I'm still not sure that he's going to be able to come save you after those first 6 weeks. So I just can't justify in any way drafting. I mean, I got him at 16, and even that I think is too generous. I might have to look at that one. 16, yeah. Not for a guy who's missing the first 6 weeks, sorry. So out on Kamara this year. Not that he's not going to be great when he comes back. I think he will be. I actually really like that offense when he returns, but can't wait till week 7 for it. James Conner, another guy popular on lists like this last year, and another guy that made a lot of people look foolish, turning in a stellar year, especially by his standards anyways. But I do think it was a little lucky, and I do think it's unsustainable. A lot of touchdowns I don't think he's going to be able to get again. I know Edmonds is gone, but I'm not really even sure that's much of a good thing. I mean, this guy also has a lengthy injury history. If he's going to be getting any sort of increased workload due to that, then that's not necessarily going to be good for his durability. So can he stay mostly healthy for 2 years in a row? I doubt it. I just think RB16 is a little bit much. I only pegged him down a little. RB18 for me, but still. Just temper your expectations for James Conner. Probably the king of this list for me, though, is Cam Akers. He looked terrible when he returned far too early from his injury at the end of last season in the playoffs for the Rams. And frankly, the next running back that is a successful NFL running back post Achilles surgery will be the first one. So until that happens, I am out. Again, back to James Robinson as well. But no, Achilles career over as far as I'm concerned. I hate to say it and sound so harsh and callous about it, but I mean, not career over. I mean, he can still contribute, but it will not be a fantasy star. There is just virtually, I don't want to say no chance. There's very, very, very little chance. And so, again, another wagon I am not edging myself to. He's going as RB18. I don't know. I have him at RB24 since upside is so important, and he is going to be part of one of the better offenses in the league. But Even that's probably a poor bet. He'll be bumped down as we get closer, I'm sure. But yeah, RB18 is banana sandwich to me. Don't get it. Someone explain it to me, because another thing I've yet to see a compelling case for. This next guy is the classic case of fantasy versus reality. If anybody's still in the comments, I'm going to pause for just 2 seconds, see if you can guess a guy who's way better in real life than fantasy. Elite running back in real life. Top 5, maybe top 3, but not that in fantasy football. Dem boys, Parker, Anthony, Dustin, no? All right, well, Nick Chubb. Yes, Nick Chubb. Amazing player, love him, but his lack of pass catching is a major hindrance when it comes to PPR formats, and he does tend to miss a few games here. He never seems to have that major injury where he's, misses the whole year, but he gets bumped and bruised. I mean, he's a hard runner. The guy's a beast, absolute beast, so I'm not saying any of this to disparage him, but that's, it's kind of like George Kittle. The reckless style is almost a way that, or the reason that sometimes he does get injured. He just plays so damn hard. But you can't count on him to be your running back 1. You just can't. It's going as RB10, ADP of 18, so you're getting him that mid-second round. But there's better value in that area, like as we already talked about. Barkley or Jones absolutely would take over a Chubb every day of the week. Chubb's just outside that RB1 range. I got him as RB13. He is still, going to be excellent, but just high RB2 due to some missed games and just not being able to get those pass catching points. So if he's not scoring, it's tough. And we will see how much scoring is happening with Jacoby Brissett under center. Yeah. So if you can get him in the 3rd as your running back 1 somehow, I would endorse that. That's gold. But in the mid-second, no chance. No chance. Not with who else is going to be available. Not only at the running back position, but at all others. Way better value available there. These next 2, but especially this next one. Javonte Williams. Javonte. Another guy who's a stud. Another guy everybody loves. Seems to be one of the more popular backs in recent memory incoming. But he's just overpriced and not in an ideal situation yet. I've argued with people about this for the last couple of years, but Melvin Gordon is actually a good football player. Surprisingly, I'm not sure if you don't watch football or not, but yeah, Melvin Gordon is a good player. Now he's starting to age. We've obviously seen a decline in recent years, but he is still good, and he is still on the roster. He will be in the way. It's that simple. So while I do think Javonte is going to take over the lead role a little more, that breakout is still a year away. Because as long as Melvin Gordon is good and is on this roster, that breakout is not coming. But thankfully, that is likely just this season. But still, he's going as running back 11 right now. Nope. He's not going to finish as running back 1, folks. He's not. I'm telling you right now. Unless Melvin Gordon gets hurt, that will not happen. So I've got him as running back 17. Still respectable. And if Gordon gets hurt, wheels up for Javonte. But I am not going to bank on that. So that 60-40 split, that's largely expected. I kind of agree with. I think that's probably about right, but I don't think that's going to be enough to push him into RB1 territory. So don't take him as such. Should be a lot of rushing attempts to go around with Brissett under center, going back to Chubb. Yes, that's true, but when opponents are going to be able to key in on the run because they're going to be even more run-heavy than usual, I would say, it's not going to matter much. I'm not a Baker Mayfield guy, don't get me wrong. Jacoby Brissett is not as good as Baker Mayfield, so to expect Chubb to outperform anything he's done with Brissett under center, I can't bring myself to do. And Gordon is still a beast and will get lots of use still. Absolutely. I don't know why people continue to deny this. It's very strange. I know we're all excited to see our favorite shiny new toys come out and be amazing, but sometimes it just takes a little time. Sometimes there's somebody in the way. And in the case of Javonte, It's going to be one more year, and that's okay. Now, a guy who didn't have to wait those years is Najee Harris. Lower on him. Yes. I love him, though. I absolutely love Najee Harris. I need to point that out. I need to get it out of the way because he's a very good player, even if not spectacular. But more importantly, I don't think there is an easier player to root for in today's NFL than Najee Harris. I think he might be the most likable player in the league. What can I say? Guy's got a heart of gold. He's a berry, a boy like me. The guy is freaking awesome. Love him. But there's too much other talent that I just can't justify top 5. I just can't. Even with the volume he's getting, I just cannot put him in the top 5. It wouldn't be shocking if Trubisky isn't better than Ben the last couple of years. And yeah, he should be. I'd be kind of stunned if he's not. But the offense is still going to be a bit of an unknown. We'll see where it goes, with Mitch manning the helm and possibly Pickett at some point, depending on Mitch's performance. But there's just so much good talent at the top of the board at this position. I can't justify taking Najee Harris where he's going. He's going as top 5, RB5. I still have him in the top 10. No disrespect. He's at 9. That volume is going to get him there. But, yeah, it's the top 5 part that I have a problem with. So, ease up on drafting Najee, unless he falls. And now, akin to the 3 little pigs, we're going to get on to the Goldilocks and the 3 bears. Just about right. Now, these guys we're not going to get into too much simply because they're kind of put appropriately. I think we all understand why these players will be drafted where they're being drafted. Start with Jonathan Taylor, running back 1. Yes, my running back 1, my number 1 overall in 1 quarterback leagues. I think he will be the first running back to repeat as running back 1 in many, many years. Austin Eckler, RB2, X-Show baby, wheels up for Eck, love it. Christian McCaffrey is RB3. Is a little riskier, but it's still where I'm at too. I love it. The ceiling is the roof with CMC. And upside is everything. Leonard Fournette. I'm actually a little bit higher on him. He's RB13 currently. I have him at 10. But he's right in the proper range. 3rd year with Brady is going to be fantastic. Especially with no Godwin, no Gronk. Yeah, Evans and Fournette. Let's go. Antonio Gibson is going late, and I think appropriately so. RB19, I've got him at 21. But when you're drafting at that range, those backs are all pretty close. He's an extremely talented player. He has a lot of receiving ability as well. But J.D. McKissick is still back. He's still going to be a problem. Carson Wentz playing quarterback is a problem. So I'm happy to draft him in the range he's going, especially if the running back talent is not really sorted on my roster. But I do think the situation he's in rightly hasn't pushed down. David Montgomery, I think, is going about right. RB15. That's right where I've got him. It's really just a matter of health. The touchdowns won't be there, I don't think, which is what's going to keep him out of running back 1 status. But the volume's going to be. And that's going to keep him very productive, especially if Fields continues to acclimate well to the NFL. And if Monty's healthy, he's going to be toting the rock a lot. Fields is athletic. He's talented, but I also would expect even in the receiving game to work in Monty a little bit more, use him more as a safety valve this year than he may have last year when Montgomery was healthy. J.K. Dobbins, first season back from his ACL tear. That's really the concern. Otherwise, he would probably be going much higher. He's very talented. It's a very run-heavy offense. It's simply recovery uncertainty. I also think we're about to get a nuclear Lamar Jackson season, the best season of his career, better than his MVP season. So I think that poaching fear is a bit real this year. And he's correctly going as RB21. I've got him at 20, but close enough. Eli Mitchell. Ignore the doubters. Eli is Shanahan's guy this season. Trey Sermon stinks. Tyrion Davis-Price stinks. The only reason that running backs have not repeated as the top running back, at least for fantasy purposes, in the Shanahan offense in recent years is health. guys get hurt, it's kind of hard to go play as RB1 when you can't be on the field. Otherwise, it would have been Raheem Mostert. The last 3 years even. So get out of here. He is the guy. Mitchell is the guy. Now, he may not be an RB1 in the fantasy sense, but he is Shanahan's. An RB23, where he's currently being drafted, is perfect spot. And then the last guy here, going pretty appropriately here, we're mainly discussing the top 24 for the moment. Josh Jacobs. He's still the running back one for Las Vegas, but the offense has drastically improved with the additions of Devontae Adams and Coach Josh McDaniels. His receiving work will probably remain very light. That'll go to Kenyon Drake if they're doing anything like that with the backs. And that rightfully pushes him down. But the rushing opportunities and the rushing volume and the touchdown opportunities are going to remain. He's being drafted as running back 22 or 20, and I'm putting him at 22. So again, right there in that same range. So kind of at the very top and the very bottom of current ADPs for running backs in the top 24 is all pretty accurate in my opinion. But in between, the top 5 and the last 5, there's a lot of disagreement I have with the rest of you people. That's all I can say. And then sneaky late grabs here. Guys I think are great value. Number 1, possibly after Travis Etienne, my favorite running back to draft in fantasy draft this year, Darrell Henderson. Yes, sir. Hendo! Why? We're going to go back to Cam Akers. 0 trust in Cam, 0 trust in a running back coming back off of Achilles surgery. He didn't look good in the playoffs, so I don't know what else to say about that. He's unfortunately probably not going to be the Cam Akers of old again. So when Hendo looks better, plays better, I will be happy to have him on my team. Secondarily, Khalil Herbert, practically free. Now, I'm high on Monty, but health has been a concern for him at times as well. So he's just a great high upside depth stash piece. Good guy to have there when running back injuries start to inevitably hit, especially if it happens to David Montgomery. Akers the only one healthy, though. So did I miss something with Henderson that he's not going to be ready for the start of the season? Because now you have me wondering. I do not know anything about that. Soft tissue injury, keeping him out of on-field work. Yeah, I mean, right now, I'm not worried about an injury in late June. I anticipate he'll be fine for week 1 until I hear otherwise. I mean, yeah, if he gets hurt, okay. But I'm not... Soft tissue, though. Those aren't words you ever want to see. And Hendo actually has a lot of injury history as well, but he's being drafted very late. I'm not really... for the cost, it's a lot of upside. So I'm very happy with it. And also, Gus Edwards. So this is actually probably sound counterintuitive, given I mentioned that the ACL injury, first year back from that was a small concern with Dobbins. Gus Edwards had the same injury, actually suffered it a little bit later than Dobbins in camp, still before the season. But the difference is the cost. I mean, again, Edwards practically free. So if Dobbins struggles or suffers any setbacks, Edwards is going to have opportunity to just destroy his ADP. He wouldn't even have to do that much. Just be playable. I mean, if you get 6 good weeks out of him, that's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I mean, the opportunity would be there if he has to step into the starting role for any reason. But hopefully Dobbins smashes, honestly. I want to see Dobbins do well. And that's where I'm going to wrap it up with the running back. So next week, we're going to get into quarterbacks here. But yeah, running backs, I think, are possibly the most fluid. So I wanted to start there. We'll probably readdress them again, especially once we get back into draft strategy. Parker says Edwards, solid stash with Dobbins not on track. I agree with that as well. Again, that's part of the logic. I mean, again, that could also, it seems that Edwards is doing all right, but still, this could all be very easily thrown off when you're still in the middle of your recovery and rehab. So we'll see how these guys react to camp work, real on-field work. Hesitant at both, but yeah, Edwards, again, free. So take him very, very late and be very happy when he sees the field. I think ultimately it will happen at some point. Just hopefully not due to any sort of re-injury to Dobbins. Don't want to see anything like that. And yeah, so we'll get into quarterbacks next week. That's going to be fun. I have a lot of different opinions. I'm more against consensus on quarterbacks than running backs, I think, with the exception of Josh Allen at 1. Obviously, Josh Allen at 1. But after that, we'll have some fun. It'll be good stuff. We'll work in some Superflex. We'll also discuss why 1 quarterback leagues are better than Superflex leagues, or not necessarily better leagues, but it's a better format. I will die on that hill. Superflex is fine. Calm down, guys. Superflex is fine. I need to actually double check with my partner. We did have a code for Prize Picks. I was going to give a Prize Picks plug, but I don't know if that's been changed. I don't think so. I think it is still Code Collective, KOLLECTIV. So if you have not signed up for Prize Picks, baseball is extremely fun to be betting on. I don't have any picks for you tonight. That's going to work back in. I was very caught up in NBA and NHL playoffs, so I was away from the day-to-day of baseball for several weeks. So I'm trying to get myself a bit more into it on a daily basis, back into the data for a little bit longer before I start making any suggestion on those picks. But they've started adding live options as well. Those are fun. Baseball's fun. And Sleeper too. So you can use my referral code, FF Tycoon. And then in terms of these picks, you're going to get what I think I'm going to call rogue risks to replace our core 4 picks throughout the season. We're going to have our Thursday night picks. We're going to have our Taco Tuesday picks for Prize Picks. So make sure you're paying attention on Twitter, not only to me, but to Betting Rogues. And we're also going to have near daily picks on Discord resuming again here in a day or two. That can also be found on my Twitter. And the final plug is that our group Rogue, we will be back in full force soon. We are still ironing out a few details for this season. You may see that we're still under construction, but we are about to return in a big, big way. This was kind of the soft opening, I'd like to think. Introduce you. And we really can't wait to get back into it and help you win again this season. So that's where we're at. Most importantly, though, we are back! Let's win together. This meeting at the Fantasy Boardroom is adjourned.